Greetings and thank you for tuning in to My Journey with Paula G. We'd like to thank our underwriters, my coffee shop at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia, Pastor Time International Bible College with Dr. Paul and Marcia Kelly, Dupsy African Clothing, 2289 South Cobb Drive in Smyrna, Georgia, Survival Radio and Clicks Photography with Clark Garrison, and Lusu Apparel with Brandon Sampson, and Positive Power Double XI Christian Media with Jerry Was Live Worldwide Ministries. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation.
Hey family, I'm Paula G. This is My Journey, and you are watching Music Vision Television.
Cut.
Hi, my name is Katrina Shaw, and I'm the co-author of the best-selling author of Women Who Soar. Women Who Soar is a book collaboration of 7 women, 7 stories, who stepped out on faith, launched their own businesses, and saw their dreams and destinies into the world. My chapter is Unshakable Faith, and I share how I overcome difficult challenges as a breast cancer survivor, and I tell you it has not been easy. I dealt with my mom dealing with dementia and dying slowly over the years. But the key is how I responded when our health was failing quickly. We all handle trials and tribulations and grief in different ways, but the true test of faith is how we handle it when it comes.
For more information about Katrina Shaw, go to www.wws-unshakablefaith.com. Katrina Shaw is an underwriter for My Journey with Paula G.
And see Hello, my name is Edward Blankenship from Blytheville, Arkansas, and you're watching My Journey with Paula G.
Hey family, I'm Paula G, and this is My Journey, and today I have a special, very special, well, all my guests are special, but this man right here is the brainchild behind it all. Positive Power, 21 XXI, Music Vision Television, Gumdrop, My Journey. He's the brainchild behind it all, and I'm so pleased and honored to have him as a guest on my show. And before we go any further, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to do what it is that I love to do, and that's radio and television.
That's right.
Jerry
that's right.
Royce.
All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
And about Positive Power.
Yeah,
Positive Power.
You know, and I've said this before, we look at where we were this time maybe a little bit over a year, this time last year, to where and that in itself has been a journey. Because last year we had some challenges and, you weren't feeling well, but we've overcome all of those challenges and we are where we at today on this absolutely wonderful, successful network, and it's a testimony to perseverance, faith, walking in your gift, walking in your talent, and just continuing to, pursue that journey and what God has for you. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, of course, nothing's going to come easy that's worth it. When you're walking in your purpose, there's going to be some challenges, whether it's health, finances, your family. A lot of us are dealing with aging parents now, and some of us have grandparents that are still alive. So you're gonna be pulled in different directions. And when you own a business and you're still trying to provide for your family, you're gonna find there's gonna be some challenges. But God's gonna be there for you. He's gonna guide you. Your spirit is gonna be in full force, and you're gonna be tuned in. And that's when you have to pretty much find out what you're made of. What can he knows what you can handle, but sometimes you're not going to have that confidence in yourself. And one thing I got to say, I never have problems with lacking confidence.
Never have a problem.
No problem.
Confidence, right here.
But
no problem.
And it's not that it was in me.
Yeah.
My confidence was always with my parents and my children. My children never been afraid of anything. And when you have those kind of children...
But where do they get that from, though? Where do they get that fearlessness from?
I know it's in them because they're individuals. And it's not like they saw me quit at anything.
Right.
And I've always tried to project, hard work and finishing things.
Right, and perseverance.
Right, and that's one of the things that you find a lot of people, they don't finish anything. And you want to be there for them, say, you can do this, But it's not like... We had to say that to them. It's like they knew what they wanted to do, and it's not like they had any problems with some of the things we wanted them to do. And of course, you try to say, okay, it's going to be fun. It's always something you say. And then next thing you know. And I'm going to tell you, I told this story one time before. I had a friend of mine that worked with me, and he was from the Philippines. And he always, because we always talk about our children. Him and his wife were trying to have children. And one of my best friends, he has 3 children just as well. And they're around the same age as my children. And then he said, why you guys wait till the kids finish an activity and then you look for another one? He said, why they don't just do, all those activities together at one time and maybe take a break?
Right.
I said, well, I never thought about that. He said 2 things can happen. It teach them how to multitask.
Yes.
And then at the same time, it'll be a challenge for them.
Right.
I said, wow. So I did that with Skylar. I started with Skylar. So we had her in gymnastics and martial arts, and then during the summer she was swimming and doing martial arts. So she stuck martial arts out longer than anything. So once she got past martial arts and it was time for us to get into the dance studio, we still had her doing some of those things that she enjoyed, along with training and preparing herself to get into a dance school.
Right.
So I said, wow, that was something, because then you look at it like this, okay, so now you put a kid in baseball and then he has to do homework. He said, well, I can't do homework and baseball at the same time.
So they learn to multitask, time management, and they learn to multitask.
Right, because it's going to happen in life.
Right.
Say, for example, you working for your church, you can't stop your job because you're working for your church as a volunteer. So I kind of understood what he was saying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you've been not only to your family, but to those of us around you and know you. You've been a wonderful example of when you're starting something, like you said, finishing it, regardless of what the obstacles are, or maybe don't know how to do, because you're good for, if you don't know how to do something, you're good for what? YouTube?
I'm going to find the answer. Contact that individual, or go to the resources that's out on the internet.
Right, and then having the vision. I mean, you're a visionary. Having the vision of, this is what the Lord placed on me to do, or giving you the vision, and then you navigating and figuring out how to make it happen.
Yes. I love black people. I love my people. And I think the reason why our people have been suppressed like they have been for so many years, because we didn't have access to the media. We haven't been able to tell our own stories.
Yes.
And I think it's so important. You allow someone else to tell your story, and they decide they just want to keep telling the story that they want people to hear, meaning that we're criminals and we're thugs and we're prostitutes.
Their narrative.
Right. And that's just a small percentage of almost every race have that.
Right.
I mean, I was just so surprised to hear how bad the Indian race, what they're dealing with in their country.
Right.
I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Wow. I said, and you look at them here in this country, you see them as engineers, as productive citizens,
Right.
but never been projected as criminals and thugs. And I mean, you're talking about, these guys are like, they're putting out their word rapists. The women are living in fear in that country. And I was like, wow.
I did a piece a while back when I covered the Atlanta Film Festival with Survival Radio Network at the time. I covered the Atlanta Film Festival and had the opportunity to interview, her name is Selvi, I believe. I hope I'm getting it right, Selvi. She was the first female cab driver in India, and to us that might not be a big deal, but based on what you just said, with a lot of the oppression and challenges that women in India have to deal with, that is huge, And her journey to getting there was just met with abuse and just a lot of tragedy and so forth. But she's like a phoenix. She overcame that, and she's now the first female cab driver in India.
Incredible.
Yeah, and that just speaks to the diligence and tenacity of people when they have a goal or a vision or a purpose, knowing the purpose and pursuing that purpose.
Yes, and I remember you telling me the story before, and I was like, wow, it's just interesting, because that's not the way they were projected to me in my early life, especially in this community, because they make up a great deal of our community.
Yes.
And you see them as pharmacists and the medical professionals and engineers. And that's how you look at it and say, wow, they're so successful.
Right.
But we never heard the other story. But thanks to the internet, I was able to capture that story from smart news.
Right.
So, wow. So back to communication. Now that we have the internet, and now we have so many smart minds and engineers of our own people, you're starting to see a lot of our men and women put together these studios, these production studios, and they're opening them up so we'll be able to have access to professional equipment, professional behind-the-scenes talent, so we can put together high-quality shows, so our people can start watching them on the internet. So you don't have to say, just because it's on the internet, it's not a great show. It's, oh, they're not Ellen, oh, they're not Oprah, they're not Dr. Phil or Dr. Oh, we could produce the same type of show that Dr. Oz produced, and Phil, and Oprah, and all those people, and Steve Harvey, and stream it through the internet.
So speaking of that, second part of this conversation that I want to have is your vision in regard to positive power, music vision, and Gumdrop, because when you spoke of something earlier, and I think to me you're such a good example of, God has gifted you with a family, and when we come back on the second part of this journey, we're going to talk about that.
Amen.
And how you mesh that with Positive Power 21. This is my journey with Paula G.
All right, Arthur, you're up.
Paul and Silas was wrapped up in that Roman jail. Had nobody to go their bail. Silas said, you preach, and Paul said, I'll sing. And just about that hour, something happened. I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, when the Roman guards go to sleep, so I can talk to my heavenly Father up in heaven on the throne. He's the only one I know that can save and deliver my soul in the midnight hour. Yeah. midnight hour. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I like to be with friends, then again like to be alone, so I can talk to my Heavenly Father. Say it again now. Talk to my Heavenly Father up in heaven on the throne. He's the only one I know that can save and deliver my soul in the midnight hour. Oh yeah, late in the midnight hour. Oh yeah, in the midnight hour. Oh yeah, late in the midnight hour. Yeah, yeah, in the midnight hour. Yeah, yeah, in the midnight hour. Yeah, yeah. There's joy in the name of Jesus. Deliverance in the name of Jesus. Salvation in the name of Jesus. Spirit in the name of Jesus. One of these days, it won't be long. You'll look for me, and I'll be gone. Going to heaven to sing and shout. There'll be nobody to put me out. And I'm gonna sit down at the welcome table, and I'm gonna feast on milk and honey, and I'm gonna sing and never get tired. Will you be there? Will you be there? What I wanna know is, will you be there? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Will you be there? Uh-huh. Will you be there? Uh-huh. There's a meeting over yonder in that New Jerusalem. There's a meeting over yonder in that New Jerusalem. Help me sing it. There's a meeting over yonder in that New Jerusalem. There's a meeting over yonder in that New Jerusalem.
Hey family, this is Paula G, and this is My Journey. And we are here with the brains, the visionary behind Positive Power 21, Music Vision Television, My Journey, Gumdrops, all of it. And we were talking earlier, a bit about, your vision and some thoughts that you had on, some of the topics that we were talking about. But what I want to talk about now is your vision in regard to positive power and how all of this came about. Because the one thing that I love that you have done is you have meshed your responsibility as a husband and a father with the gift that God has given you. So share with the audience.
Yeah, the blessing is, my wife is very supportive. A lot of people say, where is she? They never see her on Facebook.
They don't say it like that. Where is she?
Yeah, sometimes they do. Some people, where is she? Yeah, they're like, where is she? Is she here? But
she right here.
But she's very supportive. I mean, she's not like poking around. Like, how much money is going to cost? Mm-hmm. She's, she knows that I'm involved in the kids, and it's something that she knew I went to school for this, and I love community. And Brandon went to school for it too, so she knows a little bit about it and how this thing can help. Get us where we want to go. Right. And one of the things, I'm really close to retirement anyway.
That's a beautiful thing.
And one of the things I know my dad had instilled in me, and my father really wanted to have a business in place where his sons can take over. Legacy. And it can pass down to generation. And unfortunately, the internet had came in so fast, and nobody really understood it the way it came in, and because we was in publishing. So it kind of wiped out our hard copy newspaper, and nobody really knew how to make money with the internet part of publishing. We were doing really well when we was helping people put books together and everything, but then when Amazon came along and they started creating, it's kind of like, why people need us, and we had to start thinking about that too. Why would they want to come to us? So we ended up disbanding the company, but I did see where the radio part, which was more of the marketing part of it, could do something.
Could be something.
Yeah, could be something. So basically, that's when I started putting on my little innovation, my thinking cap thing.
Yeah, on that, because you've done prior to Positive Power, like you said, you went to school for all this, so it's always been in your system.
Cable production, of course, cable. Came in really fast in Baltimore. At one time it was only offered in the county, then it came into the city, and then that's when I was like, wow, I'm interested in that.
Right.
So I did take television production in college, and then I moved into more of a telecommunication, which they call it corporate communication, because that's when the internet, graphic design, digital media, everything was. I even had a guy that taught a class that was from radio, from broadcast, and then one of our instructors was actually from TV news in Denver. So we got a chance to work with individuals that were in that field.
Right.
But then they were starting to see where the airwaves wasn't going to matter much and the internet was going to matter more. So it was great to see that innovation like in the beginning. And then you were finding companies were no longer taking tapes and had to deliver it through carrier services. They can deliver it through the internet.
Yes.
Big, large
technology.
files. So we saw all of that. So when my dad, he really wanted that. So I said, well, he passed the torch to me.
Right.
So now it was time for me to try to find a way to be able to build a business from it, a family business, and something we can. Because one of the things, and everybody finds their struggles on, when you're working with an employer, you may never have an opportunity to use your natural gifts in that industry. I mean, you can
Why
come
you working
in.
for that employer?
Yeah, I mean, most likely, if you go to school into law or medical field, you have a good opportunity to open your own practice up, or working for someone else until you had enough knowledge to go out on your own. But when you go into things like journalism or business management, because you're trying to get out so you can make a living, get out your parents' home, may not have an opportunity to pursue that. So you just wait till the opportunity come along, and maybe God say, hey, it's okay.
Right.
Wait a minute, something's going to happen one day.
Right.
And I felt that. I don't work in telecommunication on my normal, my day-to-day job, but you still use those skills when you're dealing with your boss and your co-workers and other components. And then you're still learning from that. So of course, because you find your hobby is something that you're interested in, something you love. And most people don't realize that sometimes a hobby can become that.
It can become
That's right.
Yeah, because even while you have been working your day job for years, because you near retirement, even though you've been working it for years, you've also been sharpening your skills and researching to get to the point where you now have your own station. So it wasn't like, well, I'll just wait till I retire, or I'll wait till the right time, because it's never really the right time.
You never know the right time.
You just got to jump in there at some point, whatever that season is. So your season of, let me do the foundation, my homework, learn the craft, train, research, that season, and now the season has come to the present where now you have Positive Power, 21, Music Vision Television. So tell us how that's going. Tell us what goes on inside Jerry Royce's head when he looks at all this and he sees all this.
It was funny because I never really understood social media that much. It was. I mean, there's just so many pieces to it: the Pinterest and Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook.
It's overwhelming.
And so I met a young man that was actually working in a component where I was actually doing a detail. I was in a leadership development program, and this guy was super smart. He was from Sierra Leone. He was a student at Columbia University, and he was working as a contractor. And he took the time. He had a lot of patience. He took the time, and a lot of people don't know he's actually a robot on Positive Power.
Is it really?
Yes, he's a robot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his real name is Robert, and so he worked with me, and then basically was helping me with the branding, and it was pretty much something I wanted to get back into radio. I had tried it before, and I knew this was the right time. So we worked very closely together. And he was actually working on a cloud-based program for a German inventor. So he was working on his own outside thing, and I said, wow, this is super. And then he was a student.
Oh, wow.
So that was motivating to me and encouraging and say, I could do this while doing this and still working and still raising my children. And so things started moving. I had asked questions, and then he introduced me a lot to YouTube, where YouTube had a lot of professional people that were doing great things. So that's when I understood what the technology that was going on with podcasting. And so that's when the website came into play, and I think I told people the story where Positive Power was actually a newsletter. It was like, it was a newsletter
You
email.
did say that, where it started. Yes, you did say that.
I was managing a team of people who had just undergone a tremendous change on their job, and they were very discouraged what was going on. So I used Positive Power, the affirmations of it, to help rebuild that team and make them successful in what they were doing. So Positive Power just started. I really didn't understand where it was going to be. I didn't see it being faith-based in the beginning. More so,
that's right, because it wasn't.
Right, just helping, and because my connection was with the author community, and because they were already going strong in the digital world with Amazon, and these girls were making a lot of money, and I had an opportunity to get back into interviewing people again. It was going to be easier for me to break into that sector than for me to try to start something Christian-based, because I didn't know anybody was in it. So a friend who we actually published a book had a huge organization online on Facebook, and that's when I got introduced to Facebook. To her. And before you know it, I had 500 listeners. People was coming out to the website. I was interviewing people, and it was just clicking. And then I was up to doing 4 or 5 shows a week, but dealing with them. But what happened with that was so crazy was, I guess we better go to our part 3.
To be continued.
Yeah, this is a great story.
Yes, to be continued. Stay tuned. This is My Journey with Paula G.
Greetings and thank you for tuning in to My Journey with Paula G. We'd like to thank our underwriters, my coffee shop at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia, Pastor Time International Bible College with Dr. Paul and Marcia Kelly, Dubsy African Clothing, 2289 South Cobb Drive in Smyrna, Georgia, Survival Radio and Clicks Photography with Clark Garrison, and Lusu Apparel with Brandon Sampson, and Positive Power XXI Christian Media with Jerry Was Live Worldwide Ministries. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation.